Hello everybody, it's Jamie. So sorry for waiting guys, we are here 5 minutes late. It's been some technical difficulties as always with a live stream, but we are back once again. How are we all doing? It's Jamie. And that is my sound, lovely. How are we all doing guys? I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday evening. We have a guest as well, Sean. He's here with us again, and he's muted. Sean, you're muted. Sean, are you there? Maybe he will get his mic fixed up soon. But how are we all guys doing? Welcome back to another live stream. I hope you're all having a wonderful evening, and welcome back to yet another live stream about the series, or mini-series I should say, of the Titanic 2012 miniseries, where me and Sean give our review of what we thought of the series. So I'm trying to text them. There we go. But yeah, last night or last week we talked already a little bit about the miniseries, and now we're gonna cover our final thoughts. We're gonna conclude our review on this series. So yeah, I think we should begin. Sean, can you hear me, my friend? Are you there? Oh, he left. I think there is a difficulty. Oh, there he is. There he is. Sean. No. Jeez. He's still muted. Hello? No, I think he can hear me, guys. But Sean, I think it's your microphone. I haven't muted you at all. This is so strange. Can you, if you want, I can send you a different link, Sean. Maybe that will work. So he can hear us, guys. He is right there. Yeah, I will send him a new link. And see if it will work now. So sorry, guys. But once our things are sorted, we'll start this stream right away. So let's see. We will invite him again, and otherwise we'll start a little bit early without him, and he can join us later. Let's see. Right. Let's see if this works. But anyway, guys, I think we will start already a little bit. Last week we left off on the episode 3. Oh, there he is. Sean. No, Sean, your mic is still muted. This is so strange. I think it's something on your end. Because earlier it worked, Sean. But now, this is so strange. This is so strange. Sean. No! His mic cut off a little bit earlier. Oh, my voice. Excuse me. So, right, to what I was saying. Oh, and he left. He left. But no worries. We'll start. He can. There he is. Yes, Sean. Now it says, Sean, when you enter that your mic is on, but for some reason it's off when you enter. Maybe you need to be in a guest room. Maybe you need to redo your microphone. This is so bloody strange. Well, this is an interesting stream already, guys. This is already a very interesting stream. Hello, this Dustin Kruger. Hello, Life of Volvo. How are you guys doing? Thank you so much for being in the stream while we are experiencing some minor difficulties regarding our dear friend Sean. I could hear him earlier, but now our friend has been muted. And I didn't do it. I'm innocent. But let's begin. So last week, guys, again, we left on episode 2. And basically, episode 2 is the part where we follow mainly the crew on board the RMS Titanic. So, for example, Mr. Lighthauler, Mr. Murdoch, Captain Smith. Nah, still muted, Sean. This is so crazy. I don't know, Sean, if you changed something on your computer, but I think you changed something that won't allow the microphone to connect now, because I'm not muting you. I'm doing nothing. It is the site. It's connected. So I think it's the breakout and working.
What the hell is going on?
Oh, yes. You're back, Sean. You're here.
Right, hang on.
He's here, gentlemen. He's here. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Sean.
Working?
It's working.
Jesus Christ.
He is here, ladies and gentlemen.
What an absolute palaver. I literally pulled my old microphone out, which has been... I don't know what the hell was going on there. That was not my kit, that. God.
Yeah, that was so strange. That was so strange. But he's here, ladies and gentlemen. I give you Sean.
Hello, everybody. God, as if this bloody series wasn't bad enough to bloody review. Got to deal with technical issues as well. Right,
my God, man, I was scared. I was scared. I
scared. I was just annoyed.
But anyway, before we begin, Sean, please introduce yourself. What is it that you do, my faceless friend?
Well, I work in technology. I don't really. I'm joking. Clearly I don't work in technology because I'm not very good with it. So what did you say? What do I do? I don't know. I'm a podcaster. Sorry.
Yeah. Introduce yourself to the people who don't know you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sean. I'm from the Review It Yourself podcast. I talk quite quickly. I'm English. I know a lot about the Titanic and other ships, so it always comes in handy. And your guy Jamie asked me a while back, actually messaged me, and then he came on my podcast. What did we review? What did we review? What did we do?
We reviewed the Finest Hours the Finest Hours movie with.
We did.
Indeed.
And yeah, so this is part 2. So welcome to part 2, everybody. Should be good fun.
Indeed it is. So last time we left off on episode 2, I think it was, with the Titanic 2012 miniseries, which basically talked about the officers of the Titanic again. William Murdoch, Lighthauler, Captain Smith, and we get already a little bit into the third class area aspect, and And tonight we're going to conclude our review. We will talk about episode 3 and episode 4, which mainly covers the sinking of the Titanic. Episode 4, that is. So, Sean, let's take it away. What were your thoughts on episode 4, please?
Um, it's probably the best. That sounds such a positive start.
Mm.
It's genuinely it's the best one of the bunch
Mm-hmm.
because, although I mean by this point you've seen a lot of it before, but
Yeah.
the fourth episode's really where it shows you what happens to everybody who survives,
Mm-hmm.
who dies, and it's probably the best one. But that's not exactly high praise. But I mean, yeah, it's not bad. Although I mean, I can't remember because I watched it a few weeks ago whether it was this episode or the third episode where it really got into the realms of fantasy with like Italians getting locked up, which is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Men murdering each other, fighting. It just
Mm-hmm.
went really sensationalist all of a sudden, and I was just like, oh, really? Like
Mm-hmm.
why? Because it clouds over like the beautiful. There are like some really beautiful subtle character moments in here, but yeah, it's just anyway. So yeah, the fourth episode isn't bad. Molly Brown gets crowbarred into it, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but at least she gets shown standing up for herself. Because I think outside of I think I want to say the 1953 Titanic. I think
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, even in James Cameron, she was shown as being shouted down.
Yeah,
When in
indeed.
fact she took over the lifeboat and told the guy, "I'll throw you overboard." Um,
With Hitchens.
Indeed, the guy who was at the helm of Quartermaster Hitchens, who was at the helm of the Titanic when it hit the iceberg. So, not that it was his fault, like, but there you go.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Now she got her own back in this one, should we say? Um, so with episode 3, also it mainly talks about the third class passengers. Um, we seen him already in episode 1. Seanan Maloney and his family. Um,
Oh
so
god, yeah, apps just not needed whatsoever.
no,
Just
what?
so, just wasn't needed. Just wasn't needed whatsoever. Like I said at the start, there was an sorry to interrupt. It
No, no,
annoys
no.
me.
It's yeah,
Annoys me this one because it's completely pointless. Like
yeah.
there's no reason to have this criminal in there, which they link to a real life thing, and it's true Churchill was involved, but it just
Mm-hmm.
felt like they were trying to kind of sensationalize it, and it's like this is 4 episodes. You don't have enough time to do this. Just
Mm-hmm.
like if they wanted to have a really interesting look of at sectarianism and
Mm-hmm.
about Hard and Wolf and Catholics and Protestants, which arguably, granted would have been a tough sell, but it's at least something new and interesting to look at. But outside of that, it just felt so crowbarred in. We have like a guy gets murdered on the ship, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
really? Like,
That's
this is just so
before
over the top.
I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second because that's the guy we talk about. Is Peter Pietkov, or in the series how people call him Peter the Pinta, and we are talking about this guy right here on the left, this man right here, Peter Pietkov. In this scene, he walks up to the gangplank. He's escaping from a murder. He's Russian himself in the series, so basically he is a Russian gangster. He murdered English policemen. He's also known in the series as the Cop Killer. And again, basically, he's fleeing. He's fleeing the country, and the way he's doing it is taking a ticket on board the RMS Titanic. But he doesn't have much. He mainly has his clothes and his luggage, which I think has been quickly packed because, of course, he was running out of time with the police. But when he's walking along the Southampton docks, hello, history or Francis. I hope you're well. So you're having dinner, Francis. Now, thank you so much for joining. We are now mainly talking about episode 3 of the Titanic miniseries. But thank you so much for joining. It's good to have you. But like I said, when he's walking the Southampton docks, he is referred to by Lightoller as the Wandering Prophet, which I found was quite funny because when he walks along the Southampton docks and he looks at the Titanic. I don't know. I get the feeling of him like he's Jesus, but then with a long call. What do you think, Sean?
Oh, I just, there's nothing wrong with the performances in this at all.
No.
In fact, I like, I can't remember the guy's name. I'll remember it. The guy
Mm-hmm.
who plays the cop who recognizes him later on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I liked the performances, but the wife was good, the husband was really good,
Mm-hmm.
but it just felt so necessary. It's just that's my biggest issue with this series. There's just too much in it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like too many cooks spoil the broth. Literally, like you just calm it down a little bit, pull it
Mm-hmm.
back, especially when they want to do this. This Christopher Nolan-esque splitting of the timeline, and having all these 3 episodes go backwards and forwards, so the ship starts to sink at the end of every one, and then it's the fourth episode. It's just I didn't like the storyline. I thought it was silly.
No.
I thought it was really really silly, and I was just like, oh, I can't be doing with this.
No.
It wasn't needed at all. Like you could easily take this story out of it, and it wouldn't affect it in the slightest. Give more screen time to somebody else.
History or Francis, a dear friend, by the way, of the channel, Francis, a dear friend of mine. She says he does indeed look like Jesus. Indeed, he does. So as you already can hear, guys, Sean and me, we have different opinions on this series, and that's what I love when it comes to things like Wiz. We discuss them, we talk about them. Um, Sean mainly he doesn't like many of the scenes. I do mostly. There are some inaccuracies, but we talked already about that in the last live stream, so I don't want to rant all over again about something I said last week. But like Sean said, Maloney, which I will show you in a second. Maloney right here. I need to get the picture ready. Maloney, he is going to America to get a better life. He's the standard third class family guy who needs a ticket towards a better towards a better life. And this, by the way, is what I mean when we are talking about the Wandering Prophet. Um, I won't play many clips of the series. You can see the series online. You can see this.
Best you don't.
No, you can see the series online. Basically, search up Titanic 2012 TV show, and you will experience the episodes yourself. And the channel which shows them is right here, Titanic Films by Mark. Last week we tried to show some scenes, but we got copyrighted twice.
Wait, you, not me. You don't
You were
don't bring me into this.
you were in the
This is why
stream with me.
this is why
Sean,
our podcast. This is why our podcast.
we
I have to
ride,
do this stuff.
we ride or die together. Yes, yes, we do, Sean. There's no backing down in this, Sean.
Yeah, fair enough.
Indeed, Francis. I think it's still on ITV. But again, I won't be showing pictures, but I will be showing some or scenes. I won't be showing some scenes, but I will be showing you some pictures. Hello, Dennis, my friend. How are you? It's good to see you, my friend. And if you guys please have any questions about the series or about if you want to ask me a question or Sean, please be feel kind to do so. But what I was talking about with the Wandering Prophet is this scene basically here. So we have right here again Peter Pietkov. This is the Russian murderer. And as you can see right here, there are already two women who are like, who's this? Why? Who is he? And he looks like a kind of walking Jesus. I mean, of course, this on the right side is the ship. Do you guys get what I mean? Do you catch my drift of the walking Jesus? But
speaking of drift, would
Yeah.
anybody in the chat like some really really random trivia about words to do with
Okay, here we go.
ships. So you know when
Here
you
we go,
hear
guys. Be
no
ready.
no no, I really like this fact. It shows how sad I am. But here's one thing: you know you hear about ships a lot. You
Yeah,
hear flotsam and jetsam. Would you like to know the difference?
yeah.
So flotsam are things that accidentally get washed off a ship, like in
Mm-hmm.
high seas. Jetsam are things that people literally throw off, like
Mm-hmm.
jettison off.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. There's the difference. So
Also, by the
just
way, Sean, we did an injustice. We forgot two main cast members in this episode. How could you, Sean?
did we?
Disgraceful. No, we forgot these two fine gentlemen here. These two lovely Italians, Marco. Wait,
Oh,
yeah, Marco and
Paolo.
Paolo.
Yeah, because that's all that gets shouted for the last 5 minutes of this series.
Yeah,
Paolo, Paolo. It's like, oh
Paolo and
god.
Marco. These guys are Italians. For those who don't know, I'm Italian myself. So I'm gonna be honest. When I saw these two Italians, I was like, "Let's go, Italians in the series." But Marco and Paolo, yes. The older brother here on the left, he works in the boiler room of the ship, and he already got a ticket. He already was registered as being a crew member. His younger brother, Paolo, on the right side here, he wasn't supposed to come on this ship. But guys, what they basically did, what these two Italian people did, Marco, the let's call him the Black Gang Italian, he basically got a crew member drunk the night before the Titanic would sail, and he would make him so drunk that the crew member would be knocked out, and he would like steal his position and give it to his younger brother Paolo so he can join him on the voyage. And of course, the officers, they're like, we don't have your brother on the list. By the way, here on the right side is Charles Lightoller. But they're like, Paolo, or the crew member who's been drunk, or I don't know how he's saying in English. Sean, how do you call people when you get them so drunk they can't remember or
Hmm.
walk? Is there an
Like
English word?
oh yeah, there's many, but I'll choose one that's not a swear word.
Okay.
Paralytic, legless,
Yes.
squiffy.
Squiffy. I'm gonna go with Squiffy.
Squiffy's a good one. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. This whole scene, this whole, you want the Italians in it, fine, no issue with it whatsoever. Gatti, who ran the restaurant, Italian. It was to basically White Star wanted to go up against,
Cunard.
go up Cunard with their French. They had French restaurants, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, right, who does the best food apart from the French? The Italians.
Of course
I've
we
been
do. We
I've
still
been to
do.
France. I've been to France and Italy, and I think Italy takes it. But there you go.
Thank you.
I mean, so you're not gonna. Well, I'm English. We have many great things.
Mm-hmm.
Although, to be fair, Yorkshire puddings. Anyway, that aside, the I just sidetracked myself on food. Yeah, yeah. The whole thing is just a little bit silly. The
Yeah.
Italians, especially as you get further into it, the fact that the Italians get locked up, you get Ismay, who's one of the ones who's like, I didn't know we had
Yeah.
Italians on
Yeah.
board. And it's
Yeah.
like, hang on a minute, mate. You're the one who employed Gatti and said, can you get all the Italian, Italian
Yeah.
waiters and things like that? It's like, really? Like, I mean, yeah, when you look at the inquiries, there were times where some of the officers did refer to people from other countries as kind of cowardly and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't acceptable now. Well, probably wasn't then, but
Mm-hmm.
this kind of it just felt very, very just such a modern thing to do, even like in 2012. Like, oh well, let's like, oh, see, I forget. I'm not on my podcast. I'm trying not to be.
What's up?
Let's just
Oh, sorry.
thrust. No, it's all right, man. It's just thrust a bit of a fence in there. It's just not needed at all.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no.
this series,
No, no.
this series is what we handed. That's what it is. That's what it is. Just I don't think Jamie understands what that means. It's just yeah. It's just yeah. It's just not dealt with very well. Why can't I hear you, Jamie? Why can't? What the hell? What? Why? Can you hear me, Jamie? I can't hear you. Oh, this isn't good. We're cursed. I don't know whether to keep. Right. Can the chat people hear me, or is it, or have I just got lost? What's going on? What is going on? Oh, we are having just kinds of problems. Can people hear me? Dennis, can you hear me? History Inside, Dennis. Can you hear me talking, or is it just Jamie who's gone? Anybody hear me? You can hear me, History. Nice one. Thank God for that. Oh. Should I just take over? Should I just take over? I'm joking, Jamie. I'm joking. All right. Okay. Right. Jamie. Oh, yeah. Okay. Jamie, figure out what's going on. I'll keep going. You can't hear me, can you? I don't want to talk to myself. All right, the chat. Right. So thank you for sticking with me. I'll tell you what. I'll start going through my notes while I just let Jamie know. Won't be a tick. Right. I'll let him know. They can hear me, but not you. All right. Okay. I'll tell you what. Just because I don't get this as a podcaster very often. Well, I don't. Would you guys? Oh, hang on. I think are you back in, Jamie?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back in.
No, it's strange because
you're
it's
back.
been. My microphone he cut out, but let me try something else. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
So for one moment, I'm gonna. Oh, this is so crazy. Right, can you still hear me?
I can hear you. They could hear me all the way through.
Can you hear me still?
I can still hear you. I don't know about them.
Okay. Okay, I don't know what happened with my microphone, guys. But basically, because I have a Yeti microphone. Please, guys, let me know in the chat if my microphone sounds alright, and not like a cheap.
Have you seen what Dennis has put in the? Have you seen what Dennis has put in the chat?
Yeah,
CQD SOS can hear nothing due to noise of steam.
Yeah. Dennis always jokes.
Jamie, hadn't we better get the women and children into the boats?
Yeah. But you can. Okay, I hope the audio is fine, guys, because I don't know what happened with my microphone. But
told you it wasn't just me. Told you.
Okay, yeah, bloody hell. At least we haven't been copy struck once.
Okay, give it time. Give it time, Jamie. Give it time.
Yeah.
We're not far into it yet, are we?
But before my
okay.
microphone, before my laptop again loses all battery, we're gonna move on with again Meloni, because we went off towards Italians and towards walking Jesus. But the Melonis, right here. We saw the family in episode 1. Meloni, he was working in, I think it was a first class dining saloon. And for some reason, or there was a reason that in the story they were running behind. And Thomas Andrews told him, can you work faster? And he said, yeah, I can work faster, but not with the people I have, because home rule was a thing, of course, with the Catholics and Protestants. I hope there
was a bill on home rule. There was a bill that was going through Parliament, which is why Batley's wife says to Lord Manton later on, well, I
Mm-hmm.
presume you're going to vote, for home rule. So
Mm-hmm.
it was still in the balance. But yeah, a very, very turbulent time. See, this is what I mean. There's a fascinating thing you could look into in terms of White Star Line and employing, Catholics, Protestants, all like. There's a good story there. I mean, it's a tough one to tell, but there's a story there to be done. But this just kind of ignore. This just it's kind of like says, oh, there it is, but we're not going to really do anything with it. We're just going to use it as a backdrop for like one electrician and his family, and then there's a bit. Their story didn't make any sense. There's a bit at the beginning where I don't know if it's the wife or he says to the wife, like, oh, it's third class, yeah, but it's just for a couple of days of discomfort. And then later on, it's the other one who says, oh, well, it's just, why are we? And it's like, hang on a minute, like, which one? Like, you can't both be. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's sloppy.
Mr. Titanic says, "Hey Jamie, I am building a brand new MS Disney Titanic 3, still on the construction company Disney Cruises line, in Minecraft with interior and exterior designs in Minecraft." Francis, she gives us a little bit of history as well. She says, "Yes, and the bill was passed in Parliament for home rule on the day Titanic left Queenstown. Titanic connection, you're welcome." Thank you very much, Francis. Francis, if you're still in the chat, please let me know what you thought of this series, because I would love to know your opinion as well. But anyway, Andrews gets him a tick, or he basically allows Maloney to come on board, but he doesn't give him a ticket to the wife not knowing. So Maloney, he shows up in Southampton. He stresses the family along to move quickly, not to dawdle, and go to their cabin. But he doesn't have a key, so you see him like breaking keyholes, and at the end they get a cabin, but it's not their cabin. And in this scene right here, he's like playing like, oh no, I can't find the key. And basically the stewards get pissed and sorry.
Oh, you said we couldn't swear? I thought you said no. They're not looking for the key. He's looking for his ticket.
Yes, sorry, tickets. Excuse me.
But
sorry.
I don't understand either. Because just to
no, yeah, that was something I didn't do.
Thomas Andrews promises him, says, tickets. I'll get you your tickets for you and your family to go. And he's like, oh great. He's like, oh, it's third class. He's like, I can't do an Irish accent. Good God, I best not either. And he's like, oh well, third class. And he's like, what? And then Andrews is just like, good God, man, it's only a few days. Like, oh, all right, like fine. But then later on, he's like rushing about as if he doesn't have a ticket. It's like, you were promised a ticket. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, to get on the ship, you'd need a ticket. So what? Has he just decided he wants a different berth? I want a different room. It doesn't make any sense. And again, like, it just feels sloppy. And like, why? Like, I don't know. It's too much. Didn't like it.
Francis, she says she haven't watched the series since 2012, but she remembers it well, and some episodes hit, some didn't. Same for me, Francis. Dennis, if you're still in the chat as well, have you seen the series? So moving on, we get a little bit of a Italian romance going on right here between Paolo and the stewardess, let's call her, of she would basically. Why am I blanking out on her name? It's not Violet Jessup.
It's Annie Desmond, isn't it? I think
Annie Desmond. Thank you, Annie Desmond.
Jenna Coleman.
Yeah, Annie Desmond and Paolo, they get in a romance. I didn't mind. I thought it was fun. I didn't mind at all. So that is something that happens, and basically you follow their romance along this episode. Something also which I noticed is with it comes to the Maloneys is that Mrs. Maloney, she gets in love with walking Jesus. Why I think let's call him this stream the whole time walking Jesus.
Don't be afraid of the strength of your feelings.
Yeah. So
God help us all.
I think it isn't spoken that well in the series, or it isn't explained that well. But what I think is that Mr. Maloney, he's like a basic man. He earns his wages. Um, Nothing too exciting. Mrs. Maloney, they got many children, which keeps her occupied. Of course, she can't go to many places, of course, because she has children. And along comes Walking Jesus, which talks about his amazing adventures, what he has experienced. Of course, he's not telling that he's a murderer, um, but she gets in love with him, and basically she tries to how would you say it? Um, Trick him in getting him to acknowledge her, and he bites. Um, so I see what they mean. Like here, she's throwing like a thing. How do you see it? Something to fix your clothes. She throws it on the ground, and Walking Jesus picks it up, and he
Oh,
brings it to her.
yeah.
Um, something though, guys, something inaccurate. Can you guys see this poster right here? I don't know if you can see it, Sean.
Give
I
me a
don't want to be
second.
nitpicky, but this isn't accurate. Of course, this is the RMS Majestic, which first was a German liner, and she wasn't under White Star ownership at this time, or at this time during the Titanic. So that's a little inaccuracy, but again, I rented a lot last week, so I'm not gonna rant about it any further. But that's something that I picked up noticing. Something other important or important interesting is this guy right here. Please, Sean, because I'm talking way much. Explain to us who this guy is right here.
Which one are we looking at?
You're
Which
not
one are we looking
watching
at?
at the stream, Sean?
I'm trying to, but I'm slightly behind.
Mm.
Hang on, I can see. I've got to ask. Speaking of the stream, by the way, um, is that a portrait of you behind your right ear?
What?
Is that you on the the stream
Oh,
on the
you can
pot?
see my.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, is that you? Yeah, I just thought I'd ask.
oh no, no! But it's not about me. It's about this guy in the screen.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I can't remember the guy's name. He's Welsh actor. I'm gonna say I'll find out.
He's Welsh.
He is.
No,
He's Welsh.
but he's in the series. He is a undercover agent, I think, who knows
He.
about Walking Jesus being a murderer.
I don't think he's undercover. I think he's just okay. Okay, so see, Welsh actor. That
It's,
actor is Mark Lewis Jones. He has been in absolutely all sorts. He's been in all sorts. He's always on telly over here.
mm-hmm.
And he was in The Crown. He played Prince Charles's tutor in The Crown. He
Did
was in
he?
Stella. He did. He was in The Lighthouse. That 2017 film. He was in Stella. The Ruth Jones comedy. He's been in Gangs of London. He who else? Trying to think. Oh, I think he was in Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Apparently, I've not seen it, nor do I have an interest to see it. What else was he in? Oh, Torchwood, of course.
Mm-hmm.
In the episode
Mm-hmm.
where the passengers find them, they've jumped forward in time 50 years whilst on a plane. Oh, that's a
Mm-hmm.
great episode. That.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
he's been in absolutely all sorts. 55 Degrees North, a detective series on British television. That's about it. He's been in quite a lot.
mm-hmm.
Been quite a lot. He's very prestigious Welsh actor.
Uh-huh. But in the series, do you think he's undercover that he knows about Walking Jesus being actually the Peter Piatkov murderer?
No, I think he's just there. He's just
But
traveling with everybody else
but
because
then sorry, but
yeah,
then
go on.
I if and I'm sorry if I'm interrupting, but
Sorry.
then I have the question for you, because during the sinking scene or during the sinking scenes, he takes Peter Piatkov in a back corridor. By the way, guys, spoilers. And he starts beating him up. I mean, uh, that makes me think, in my mind at least, that he knows that he is a killer.
Well, he knows by that point, but he doesn't go on the ship because Piakov's there.
But
He's
why
just traveling.
why would he then start fighting with him? I think
Well,
because
because
if I was a passenger, I would like be scared.
Well, he's not just a passing. He's a cop, presumably retired by his age. He's
Mm,
been a cop. This is a guy who's killed a lot of cops,
yeah.
policeman. He's not going to be happy.
Uh,
Um, yeah, but again, the whole reason for the fight was just stupid.
mm,
I mean, you're all going to die. What are you going to
mhm.
benefit?
I
Um,
see. I see your point. Also, with
but
this scene. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, but I think it's just a coincidence. He just happens to see him, and he's like, I think I know, because this is like 1912.
Yeah,
You know,
1912 indeed. Yes.
people weren't tracked
As well that he starts talking to Pyatkov and he gets very uncomfortable because he notices like, hey, you're digging to my past and I don't like that. So he was kind of anxious of that thing right here. What are some? Oh yeah, this is the scene that you remembered then, Sean. I will show it right here.
Mhm.
Mrs. and Mr.
Right.
Jesus. No, no, no. I'm taking the piss. But this scene right here,
You've
he
sworn
talks.
again.
But now the scene where he's like, what did he say in her ear again?
What did he say? Which bit?
That they are both in the first class ceremony with the religion.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. He leans over and he's like, "Don't be afraid of the strength of your feelings." It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Like, you're right. Like, she's probably, she's married. She's got the husband. She's got the
Hmm.
kids. She's probably, a bit of not a bit of a bored housewife trope.
Yeah.
And this sexy Eastern European guy comes along, and she's like, "Fancy me a bit of that," which
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense. It's just it's one of the criticisms that gets leveled at James Cameron's Titanic.
Hmm.
That, like, you've got all these people to focus on, all these amazing real life stories, and you focus upon a stupid romance, which I
Hmm.
don't agree with for Cameron, to be fair, because at least he does it well. This was just stupid, and
Hmm.
again, and stealing a kiss, and it's
By the
just
way,
stupid.
there's still people watching the stream, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you also for being um, so being active. I love the
History
comments.
inside a nutshell, said Jamie. Stop swearing.
Yeah.
And
Um,
did I mention he's Welsh? History inside a nutshell. I think I did.
yeah, yeah, no, she knows that he's Welsh as well.
I know I'm being sarcastic. It's fine. Sorry. What to say, Jamie? Great news. Remember
Um,
Titanic?
so Francis, she's asked like the girl who plays Walking Jesus. Oh, Walking's Jesus love interest. Yes, I think she's the same actress that played a third-class passengers in the Lusitania documentary. I wouldn't recall. I wouldn't recall. Dustin, as well. Thank you so much for being here, Dustin. Good to have you. But if we go back to romance, guys, let's get our hearts warmed up again. Paolo. Pa- Paolo
Paolo
is
Paolo Sandrini.
It's
Yeah,
Paolo
I know.
Sandrini. He's in the crew quarters and he's talking with Marco about asking. Oh my God, I'm passing out on her name again.
Annie Desmond.
Annie Desmond. Sorry guys, Annie Desmond. And he's like,
Is it just the Italian characters that matter to you? Do you just the English ones, like,
yeah.
don't care about them. Like, what were they called again? Uh, they don't like Jesus, or they're not Italian. I don't care. Like, I see what your priorities are, Jamie. It's fine. Absolutely fine. Don't worry about
No,
it. Like,
no. I love all kinds of people, guys. I love all kinds of people. But he's like, and I understand. Or before I move on with this with this fragment, is that I recognized something in his Italian behavior. Is that we Italians we are run by emotions. If we like somebody, um, we want to marry them up straight away. And you see that very well in this scene right here with Paolo again and Marco. He's drinking with him in his cabin. He's like, I'm gonna ask Annie to marry me. She's amazing. I know she is the one for me. And Paolo is, and Marco is like, but excuse me, you seen him just a couple of days. And Paolo gets angry at him, and I'm gonna say this in Italian. and I will translate it soon. But Marco, the guy right here, he says, "What? Che cosa la vai che cosa la vai offrire? Che cosa offri la ragazza?" Which basically means, "What are you gonna offer her?" And Paolo, and that was that was something that I enjoyed very much. He said, "Miei sogni, io offrirò i miei sogni," which basically means, I will offer her my dreams. And that hit home for me. That, I don't know, it got me even a little bit emotional. But that hit home for me. And at the end, Paolo dares to walk outside because you don't understand. And then Marco, he says like, "Paolo offri I sogni." So he says like, "Give her your dreams." And that was something it hit home. That was very well seen.
See, I've had a joke set up for about a minute in my head, and now you've brought emotions into it. I was just going to say Paolo wants to make her pregnant.
No.
Terrible. Well, just saying, prego
No.
gets used to beer. Yeah, he does. He does. He does.
But if we move again a little bit further in the scene, this is basically
Sorry.
no worries. Here we have again walking Jesus and his lover, and this is basically the scene where Maloney finds out, or no, like they kiss. So let's get a little bit of romance going, guys. Yes. Oh no. There they go. They kiss. This is the love relationships we all have been looking for, guys. They kiss. But Maloney, he finds out and he starts. Where is he? Oh no, here he is. He starts smacking the living hell out of him, and they fight. I think you were. Maybe I sound very wrong saying it, but I think you were really pleased to see that, though, weren't you, Sean?
Wasn't pleased to see anybody get hit, but I mean, the thing is though, this is the funny thing about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that this shows, like, the wife's a bit bored, and this handsome European mass murderer comes by and twinkles in her eye, and she, she thinks I fancy a bit of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kiss, and it's like, hang on a minute, like let's just flip it round. Your husband's worked God knows how many hours, and yes, I know men and women at the time different to now, but he's out there, he's sweating his balls off doing this job. He's got this new team in. He's got the ship finished. He's got tickets to go to America. New life, new opportunity. Brought your kids with you. He steals a cabin for you. And then you're like, oh, I'm a bit bored with this. A bit bored with sitting with the kids for like 4 days. So
Which I understand, of course.
I don't. I said, I'm going to dabble in a bit of adultery. It's just...
No,
it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's just silly. It's
no,
really
I see both points. I see what you mean, but as well, if you have so many children and you're raising them up, it's like a kind of repetitive life. Of course, you chose to have children. It means you've chosen with consent, but it's a little bit repetitive, doing the same things. Of course, it's an all other story, falling in love with a mass killer of policemen.
I mean, that was just a joke, but yeah, I mean, she doesn't know who he is, of course.
Yeah,
but it just feels unnecessary, and like the fact that you can tell the show makes you want to side with them. It's like, no, I don't want to side with her or him. I want to side with the husband. I don't understand. I don't get this is the big issue for me with this storyline. Number one, it wastes time on the others. I'd rather have seen more of the Batleys, more of Harry Widener and Georgiana. I'd rather have seen more of Miss Watson and Mr. Barnes. I'd rather have seen more of those stories. Even Manton, like Lord and Lady Manton. Like Lady Manton was a piece of work, but I quite enjoyed watching her. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of the Irish family. Get rid of, not because they're Irish, but because it's just pointless. Get rid of them. Get rid of the Italians are all right. I like Danny Desmond; she was decent. But get rid of them. Get rid of the bloody Yorkshire, which I know I shouldn't say. But
by the way, I'm gonna interrupt for a quick moment.
Go for it.
MS Titanic too. He's saying if we could look at the nameplate on the Titanic on the wreck, because that's been discovered or that's been filmed. And MS Titanic, when we've concluded our review on the series, I will certainly look at it, my friend. Don't
I
worry.
thought I thought Ocean Gate had already. I think Ocean Gate already filmed that last year.
No, yeah, but there's a very good version. He says
Oh,
MP on nameplate on the Titanic. But we will show Miss MS Titanic. If we have more time, we will surely. Francis Francis says, "Women just want adventure." I'm not gonna say anything. We all want adventure, don't we, Francis? But
It wouldn't be the same if it was switched around, though, would it, Francis? If it was if it was the wife on board with the 4 kids and the husband was
listen,
there,
Francis.
and he went and found a serial killer woman and started having a bit of a dalliance with her, kissing her as the iceberg flew past. I mean, how it sound as daft as I'm describing it? Because that's what it's like. Like,
No,
oh,
look,
anyway.
Francis. This guy Sean is very honest. So, I'm having fun, guys. I'm having fun.
Surely people don't want you to. The problem with too many people who like not if people want to be really positive all the time, fine. But sometimes you've just got to say like this just isn't good enough. As a whole, the series just isn't good enough. Like I watched the behind the scenes stuff, and don't get me wrong, that like what they did in terms of building like a boat deck, building it, the actors and actresses in it are absolutely marvelous. It had some very skilled people behind it, but for whatever reason, it just didn't come together. You know, you'll. I'll give you an example. Go on,
You
go
see
on.
what she says? You see what she says? I know, and I know. And she says, "Yep, I know, and I know I would be that woman."
Well, there you go.
Guys, we're moving on to the next scene because I don't want my computer to be like run again like last time. But basically, now we move on. Now we move on to the sinking scene, the iceberg hitting scene, and I want to play this with sound. So please pray, Sean.
Oh dear.
Please say that we won't pray that we won't be copy struck, guys. Please
play
pray.
it with sound then. Just play it without.
Excellent.
I'll do the commentary.
It's the scene. It's the scene where they with the gas exploding.
With the what? Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, something. Now we move on to the sinking scene, and here again, the people are sleeping. Paulo is sleeping, and he's like quiet because the iceberg has hit. In this episode we don't see the iceberg hit the ship. We just experience what happens down below. Again, so Paulo is right here. He's being woken up. So I'm gonna be very careful here.
Why have the engine stopped?
So he says, why have the engine stopped? And then
What's that?
Sounds like steam escaping.
they're like steam is escaping. So we don't get to experience what happened when the ship hit. But this in that scene it says like steam is escaping. And of course panic starts erupting. Guys in the chat, I hope you heard that. Again, last week I got 2 copyrighted strikes. And I don't want that happening again. But I hope you guys heard it in the chat. Maloney, he hears it as well, and he's going to hear it, check it out. Dennis says, "I'm sorry, but I need to go. Need to finish things for work for tomorrow, and need to run to the market. Great job, and keep up the good work. Cheers." Thank you, Dennis, for always being always in the streams, and thank you. Again, thank you for all of you guys being here. Thank you to D. Kruger. Thank you to MS Titanic. Thank you to Francis. Thank you to Sean. Thank you guys so much for being on the show with me because, again, I'm having a blast of a time and I hope you are too, Sean.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's good fun.
So, again, basically, panic erupts. We get the scene where Annie Desmond... You see, I remembered her name, Sean. I remembered her name. Annie Desmond.
You've only remembered it now because she's going to marry an Italian. Don't give me that. I know why. She's going to be Annie Sandrini, and you're like, oh, well, if she's going to be half Italian, then that's absolutely fine.
But we basically get the chaos of many things happening at the same time. Of course, lifeboats being lowered, Paolo playing the hero. And this is the scene where Sean talked about earlier, is with the Italians being locked up. And here we have our lovely Mr. Bruce Ismay. Mr. Bruce Ismay. And these are basically, these are people from Paolo Sandrini's, or Paolo's, from Gatti's restaurant. And they are being frantic, of course, because something happened. An iceberg hit the ship. Water is coming in. They noticed. But they can't talk English. They don't talk English. And they start doing their Italian things, like moving their hands, screaming, causing chaos. And the officer right here is trying to calm them down. Ismay hears the commotion and he starts getting angry at them. And he says, what was it again? What he said, Sean? What was that?
I don't know what his exact words were, but he says something along the lines of, like, we can't have them up on deck. Being
yes, indeed, yeah.
Fighting the women or something.
Yeah.
Like, lock them up. We're British. We can't handle emotions. Get them locked away. It's just stupid. Absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
And Gatti would have known him as well. The guy at the front, the older looking guy. Well, the guy at the front. Sorry, on the far left of your screen as you look at it. I think that's meant to be Gatti. So he knows Ismay. He gets employed. So it's like he knew this guy. At least in a business sense. So it's just stupid. I don't understand why you'd do this, to be honest.
Francis, I know, Francis, if you're still in the chat, because I know that you have many sources, because I wouldn't be comfortable saying it if it's not true. But Francis, if you are in the chat, do you know if Ismay actually locked up the Italians? Because I don't. And this series again is portraying Ismay as the villain.
Well, I'm sure. Well, again, yeah. I mean, I was going to get into that later on. You've got Ismay.
Oh wait, so I'm gonna interrupt one more time because I think I misread. I think I misread the message that MS Titanic was trying to send. I thought that he was asking if we wanted to show it, but he was asking if we have seen that footage. And MS Titanic. Yeah. Sorry if I misunderstood your message. Sorry if I misunderstood MS Titanic, but I did see the wreck, the nameplate on the Titanic wreck, and that was something very haunting to see. Very strange. I don't know why. Oh, so we got a reply from Frances here. She says, I remember the people from Gatti's restaurant. They were kept down below in real life because they wore their work uniforms. Some who weren't let down below their pajamas. But I don't know if they were locked away, though. I don't think...
There's no evidence they were. There's no... The whole thing about people getting
portraying Ismay as the villain.
Well, yeah, but there's no evidence for it whatsoever. So it's just made up. No. They've just made it like, oh yeah, we'll just have them locked away. Like, why?
And here in this scene as well.
I mean, Gatti's body was recovered. Gatti's body was recovered as well.
Yeah.
He's buried in Nova Scotia. I think the CS Minia. I think. So it just doesn't make any sense.
No. Francis here says, this is the first I heard of it, but if someone suggested it's a rumor, then if it's a rumor, I think I'm reading it wrong, but this is the first I heard of it. But if someone suggested it as a rumor, then it's awful. Indeed it is, Francis, indeed it is. In this scene right here, again, this is also a thing. Oh, sorry.
No, it's just you've got. I mean, it would have been awful if it had happened, but it didn't. So why did you put it in? Like it just feels so disingenuous and such a dirty thing to do. In terms of like, what we'll do is we'll show people getting locked away. Like there's it's the same with the third class passengers thing. They don't know. Like I said, like we were on about last week, we talked about that. The idea that people were physically locked down so they couldn't get out. No, it was more about getting the bus, but the Italians, it just feels like it. I'm trying not to get political, but it feels like what what are the reasons why the people who made this decided to put that in? Like, there's absolutely no evidence for this whatsoever. And it's like, oh, we'll just have them locked away. Why?
Yeah.
So the Italian brothers can have this reunion? No, you could have had them meet on the deck. It just doesn't make any sense. And it's one of the biggest criticisms that people give Titanic shows or films, movies. Why do they make things up? The real event was that dramatic that it's lived on for over 100 years. Why do you need to? Why do you need to lie? Like, it's not sugarcoat it. Like, I know I'm saying they're lying, but why do you choose? Okay, why do you choose to interpret?
Yeah.
Oh well, we'll just put this in. Well, where's your evidence for it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Here it says something in an article by the Titanic wiki. Bruce Ismay is depicted as a racist towards the Italian crewmen. I'm saying it wrong. Sorry, I'm gonna read it again. Bruce Ismay is depicted as a racist towards the Italian crewmen. In reality, Ismay was the one, like you said, Sean, who hired Luigi Gatti and his staff to publicize the success of the Ritz restaurant on board the SS America in 1905. This was to promote the competition to bring over the rich passengers to enjoy lavish French hot cuisine. Exactly what you said. There's no evidence that the a la carte restaurant staff or other Italians were locked in a room, according to Paul Mausch. I hope I said the name correct. The restaurant staff who were kept back by the stewards, like you said, Francis.
Well, how the hell would you have done it? I mean, I'm not being funny, right? I'm not. Oh, I need to be careful. I'll put this. Even if you're talking to somebody who doesn't, so if I'm talking to you, Jamie, and you've got a bunch of people with you, and I'm the steward who presumably speaks English, of course the English person's got to be the villain, but it's like, oh, well, I'm going to get you and the Italians. You don't speak English, but I'm somehow going to cajole you into a cupboard and lock you in. What? Just because you can't speak English, you're going to let that? How many? I mean, have you seen the size of the Italian? How on earth? How on earth is that possible? Like, it's like, oh, they've been locked in. How? How did you trick them? Did they throw some Italian dessert in there and go on, lads, follow that in? It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
I'm being silly. I'm just being daft, but it doesn't make any sense.
MS Titanic says the Titanic and Olympic switching nameplates. There are many things considered with those nameplates of the Olympic and Titanic, MS Titanic. There are many things. Francis also says that she is going to interview Ismay's great nephew at some point, so I might mention the Italians being locked down by Ismay in the interview. Please do, Francis, because I would love to know if my Italian countrymen were being locked up down below. Back to the series though, because we are going off point. Of course, we get the scene with the third class passengers being locked up behind desks. And this is the scene which I talked about. I'm not going to show up, no violence. But this is the scene where like you said, Sean, the ex-cop, he starts attacking Peter Pietkov. He exposes his identity, and Peter Pietkov basically kills him in a very brute manner, which I'm not going to show. Breaks his neck. Let's keep it at that. Here is Mrs. Maloney trying to escape to the deck via the third class and restaurant. And here we have the Allisons sitting down, breaking down, of course, because they lost their baby, who escaped with the nanny. And this is also, again, a scene which I didn't enjoy. This is a scene where basically Marco, he searches for his brother Paolo, but whilst he do so, he sees that the third class passengers are being held back, and he's like, what are you doing? The ship is sinking. He starts throwing a panic, and he's like, you need to free these people. They need to get out of here. I've seen the water. I've seen the danger. And when that happens, basically all hell breaks loose. The third class passengers start like ramping the gates, and as you can see, they're running. They're taking, of course, their opportunity to escape on deck. But Marco here, he's being, as you can clearly see, being taken violently away. Like, extremely violent. Here. By the crewman. He's being taken away in an extremely violent fashion. And here, being thrown in the cell. Locked up. Key. All gone away. He turns around, as you can clearly see. And there are all the other Italians.
No. This isn't the Italians. This is steerage.
Oh yeah, sorry, steerage.
sorry.
Here
Sorry,
we have
my bad.
Italians. Here we have Italians, and this is steerage. But again, there's no evidence. I don't understand.
Like, what's that area for? It's just a locked cupboard. There's nothing in it. There's no boxes.
No.
It's just stupid. It's stupid, fanciful.
Oh yeah, this is also. This I will play with sound because I love this scene. And it's being so very well acted. So again, Sean, do you remember the name of this fine gentleman right here? He was in the first episode. He was the first class passenger. God, I'm so bad with names. Menton, Lord Menton.
Oh, okay, yeah. Lord Manton.
So Mrs. Maloney, she tries to get to the lifeboats, right? And there's of course panic. She gets stepped on with her hand, and Menton sees it. And he takes him towards the lifeboat, but he does it in such a heroic, excellent acted version. And I will show you this. So I want to show this. So please, no copyright. But, oh yeah, here. This scene right here. So I'm gonna play this. Not extremely loud, but I hope you can hear.
Help her! Get the children onto the boat.
Give me your hand.
Get your hands off her!
No, he's helping. He's helping.
Let the women and children
Get your children. Up you come. Come on, Sean.
stand back!
We are. Let's go, children. Come on.
Back.
Let these children through.
That's enough!
Let them through.
We're full! We're going to lower!
You will not. Now let them through.
I hope you guys heard that. Excellent. I hope you heard it excellent. But that is so well acted. Like Murdoch is like, we're preparing to lower, and the way, the anger in his face, like, you will not. I was like, oh, that hit home.
Yeah, this is what I mean. That's goosebumps with that part. It's brilliant, but the series is just let down as a whole. This is what I mean. If they'd have focused on. Just edit it back a little bit. I'm aware I've probably come across quite critical, but I can only be honest. But the series, it just feels like such a missed opportunity. Like it's made no impact whatsoever on. I mean, really, like in terms of like impact of other series. It's just everyone had such high hopes for it, and it showed, instead of going with like real people or whatever, it just decides to go with the sensationalism and making things up and putting them in, and that combined with a couple of inaccuracies, which I don't mind. I'll take inaccuracies. You can understand them, but it's too many characters, too much going on.
Yeah,
it repeats things. It's like, hang on, you haven't got enough time to do what you want, but you're repeating things at the same time.
At the same time, though, it's amazing to see those little pieces of jewels in this series. There are some things that aren't right. Yeah. But Francis here, she says, I heard it. It was amazing. Indeed, Francis. Again, like I've said in many streams, guys, it's not the actor's fault. The actors are just giving a script and they are acting it. And when it comes to acting, this series is amazing. The actors, all of them, they did an amazing job. However, when it comes to the scripts, that is the fault of the writers, and it hurts. It hurts in some way because you see how much love, how much passion with these actors are being there thrown in. And it's kind of sad, but anyway, that's me raving. So basically, what happens next is Paolo finds out that his brother is being locked up, in third class, and he says goodbye to
Annie
Desmond.
Desmond.
Desmond, yes. I was thinking of it. I had it on the top of my tongue. Annie Desmond. And this is basically the last time they see each other.
Well,
Because,
I mean, she sees him later on, but he doesn't see her.
yeah. I
Bit
mean,
dark when it's
Francis, I'm afraid you didn't like this scene as well. Francis needs to go. Francis, I understand completely. This is a longer stream than normal. I understand completely if you have to go. But thank you so much for being here for the time that you were here. And I hope you like my co-host, Sean. We will do many of these together, I hope, Sean.
I reckon so. Yeah, if you can stand it, the honesty.
But thank you so much, Francis. Of course, we will do it again, another live stream, and it would be lovely to have you on. Take care. Thank you, and bye-bye, everyone. Thank you, Francis.
Cheers, Francis. Thank you.
Francis from History Inside a Nutshell, an amazing YouTube channel. Be sure to check out History Inside a Nutshell. Again, Paolo finds out that his brother is being locked up in... Oh yeah, by the way, this was also so interesting, is that he's going through the water searching for the brother. And this crew member right here, he's the reason, mainly because he's locked up. And he's like, where's my brother? And he starts cursing at Paolo. I was like, why? The ship is sinking. Just tell him where he's are.
Exactly. Just silly.
Let's do this. We need to take a quick detour, but because MS Titanic says, looking at pictures, reg starboard, bow, MP, please. Okay. Titanic. RMS Titanic. Name, plate, bow, rec. Here it is. Yeah, here it is. The nameplate of the RMS Titanic being shown on the wreck. Kind of haunting, isn't it, Sean? Seeing that.
Yeah, it's
scary.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the shoes are worse, but yeah, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see the footage now.
It's sad.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm sure Ocean Gate took this with 4K or something. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I in that case, I haven't seen it. But let's go back to the series, because we're now moving on to our final episode, my friends. And then we can move on from the series. Or, I mean, Sean can move on.
Yep.
So basically, guys...
Straight into therapy.
Episode 4 is mainly about the sinking of the Titanic. So we've established all the classes, crew members. This episode covers mainly the sinking of the Titanic, episode 4. And when it comes to social scenes, it's all a big wrap up. You see it, MP. Indeed, I saw MP. I saw it. MS Titanic. But what was I saying? Yeah. So basically, when it comes to social scenes, there are many social scenes being thrown around from all episodes, and basically, we cover the Titanic, or the sinking. And again, Sean, you know that as well, that when it comes to the sinking, this is one of the most historical accurate the ones that we know of the sinking of the Titanic. Yes.
As far as we understand it, yeah. I mean, because the theories change as to how it's.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know how many theories are on it now, about 7 or 8, I think, in terms of like how it sank and what angle it was at.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think the thing is we'll probably never know, but I think, yeah, arguably this is probably one of the most realistic. They think in terms of how the wreck came to look as it does. So yeah, I did like the way they did it because they can't go all James Cameron. They just don't have the money. I
Mhm.
did like the way they did it. I loved where I've forgotten his name now. Not Paolo, the other one. Paolo's
Paolo.
brother. No, not Paolo, the brother. What's the brother called? The older one.
Marco.
Marco. Yeah, okay. Of
Yes.
course. Right, so Marco, when he climbs on the lifeboat and he's shouting for his brother, and that, shouting Italian. What was he shouting in Italian, by the way? You'll have to tell me because I don't know what he's saying.
When he's in the water or in the close-up cabin.
It's when he's on the lifeboat and he shouts in Italian, but I don't know what he's saying.
Ah, see. So, yes, he shouts like, Paolo, dove sei? Sono qui. Which means, Paolo, where are you? I'm here.
Right, okay, yeah.
Which makes it all so more dramatic. Like, Paolo, I'm here. I'm your brother. Can you hear me? Slamming on the lifeboat. This scene is actually a kind of callback to the James Cameron version, I think, because here the valet of Lord Manton, spoiler, he's in love with the women valet of Lord Manton, and she's being looked up in the cabin whilst she's getting something, and basically he runs to the cabin and tries to knock her out. Knock her out.
Oh God! No, he doesn't try and knock her out. He tries to get her out of the room. He tries to knock the door down.
Like
You've been streaming too long, Jeremy. You've been streaming far too long. This actor here who you see, that's Lee Carnes.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. I love these two. I would have taken a whole series on. I just love they're it wasn't even a love story really. It was more that mutual respect and that ending scene where she's reading out she's like, he's not. She's reading his letter and you hear him talk about, and when he just says, you just think of me sometimes. That's all I ask. And really good, really chilling, and yeah, great, really good,
indeed. So it's a kind of callback again, like I said, with Jack and Rose being trying to get their way out onto the corridor. With this also being like he's.
But I think this is. I think I read this before. I think this is actually true. I think they did start locking up doors and things because they weren't. Because remember, there was no public address system. Some of the crew didn't even know the ship was going to sink till it started to actually go. So they thought, a ship will come and the ship will probably settle in the water a little bit, which had four. They reckon had four compartments being ripped open instead of five. They reckon the ship would have probably settled at the head and then stopped and just anyway. So I think that they thought, we'll get these locked up or whatever. Because they shut the purser's office and stuff like that, and then apparently they were going along locking things that, trying to secure the ship as best they could because some of them didn't know. So it's it makes sense.
And this makes me like, you're breaking White Star property.
But again, fantastic accent there. That's there's but it did happen. There were people reprimanded for damaging property, whilst the ship, as the ship's sinking because crew don't know, presumably, and what's happening. So there you
go. So we kind of again cut back to the Maloney family.
You see this guy. You see this guy here. So you see that guy you just came off there. See that guy there, the steward who lets her out with the ginger hair. That guy, that actor is called Thomas Aldridge, and he was one of the first people to play an adult Ron Weasley from Harry Potter in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in the West End, I believe.
How interesting!
There's a bit of trivia for you.
How interesting. So basically, Glenn, this was a scene where Murdoch said, like, we're preparing to lower, and Lord Phantom is like, you will not, you will let her through. And basically we cut back to the scene where one of the elderly children of the Maloneys, she hears the crackling of the water of the lifeboat. She's scared because she can't swim and runs off. And Maloney's like, I will find her, don't you worry. And then out of nowhere comes Walking Jesus! Walking
Yep.
Jesus!
Yeah.
Here, once again. And then he's like,
He's not the Messiah. He's
no.
a very naughty boy.
yeah, no. He's like, Mary, I will help you, but remember me. And that was sad as well.
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't, Jamie. It was just ridiculous, wasn't it?
If we go back to the scene, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes, guys, in the series. It's not because of the shooting, no, but it's the way again how it's acted.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Copyright, let's get it. Here, yes. So before we play the scene, panic is totally erupting, right? Because as you can clearly see here, there. Oh no, we were. Here, the Titanic is sinking. You can clearly see the Titanic is going down head first. People are... Oh, sorry. There we go. Again, it was on my camera. How maybe I've been streaming too long, Sean, you're right. But this is the scene where they see like, oh god, the Titanic is really going down. You see the panic on the decks. People right here running along. And right here. And this is one of my favorite scenes in the It depicts the chaos so well, in my opinion. So let's get copyrighted. No, just joking. But so here it is. Here we go.
The boys from here have gone! Get back! The bullets have gone! The boys from here have gone! Get back! The bullets have gone!
Oh yes.
Remove to the stern and wait for rescue!
I love that scene because it depicts the chaos so well. The officers are losing control. What do you think, Sean, of that scene?
Yeah. Again, yeah, brilliant. This is again the argument of why have some what in it. I don't know, just annoys me. But no, the scene's great, brilliant acting. I think it's that point of you know. I think it's just a desperate situation for everybody, isn't it?
It's basically now the moment where everybody saves themselves.
Well, it's every man for himself, as they would have said. So,
of course, we also. Sorry,
you've no chance. No, sorry.
Also, of course, we also get the depiction where Ismay leaves the ship, again being marketized as the hero, or hero villain, made the villain,
made out to be. I mean, in most other in fact, I don't want to say all because I haven't seen them all, but certainly in the films, 53, 1958 for Night to Remember, and 1997. In those films, he's always depicted as getting in when the boat deck's empty, which is what he said. In this, there's loads of people, there's loads of men behind him, and he steps in. So it makes him out to be an absolute coward. But again, people have to remember with Joseph Bruce Ismay, that there was some beef between him. There was some like him and a magnate in the media world in America didn't like each other, and it was pounced upon to make him like the villain. And we know the strength of media, and on that side of the ship where Ismay was, we know that Murdoch was essentially putting anybody in the boats. He took the order as men and women first, not men and women. Women and children first, not women and children only. You get Lightoller on the other side, who is very heroic as well, but he stays and he lets boats go with a lot less. More people are saved on Murdoch's side than any other. So it's but this TV series again decides to make Ismay look a complete coward, and then later on in this episode, it makes Cosmo Duff Gordon look just completely guilty of a bribe. There's no ambiguity in it whatsoever in this
No.
depiction. So again, this is where it kind of, for someone who knows a lot about the Titanic, or at least I do my best, it annoys you because you think if a layperson's watching this, someone who doesn't know a lot about the Titanic, they might take these interpretations, as it were, as fact. And I think, and I know I'm not saying people watch a TV series and think it's all fact, but it's just these myths that keep getting perpetuated. That's all I mean by that.
Also, because my computer is starting to almost like empty itself out of juice, we're now jumping ahead quite largely to a scene which I found very interesting. Again, if you want to see like the complete episode by yourself, please go to Titanic Films by Mark, and you can see the whole thing for yourself. But one of the scenes where you talked about earlier, Sean, is this scene where our Italian Marco screams for Paolo. This is what you meant, right?
Yeah.
And something I enjoy, or what I find very good, is when it comes to the Titanic movie of James Cameron, the whole breakup is like emphasized as this huge way. And how, I quote Ocean Liner Designs, Michael Brady, he said, in this series, the breaking up of the ship is very subtle. You see like slides, and then, because of course we know now that it was way blacker when the Titanic broke up. So here lights, and then pure darkness. I mean, you wouldn't even tell that there's a ship sinking. Which is very well done. And also, the final plunge in the series right here is so epic. Here. 3, 2, 1. I'm not gonna play it with sound because otherwise it's completely copyrighted because it's just music. But can you see how crowded the deck is right on top, man? We have never seen this in a James Cameron. When we saw this in a James Cameron movie, we saw it from on top, but we never saw it in this perspective.
True.
What do you think, Sean?
No, it's good. I did like some of the things they did. You know, you had John Jacob Astley, you see, I think, swims towards Senior Widener, and finds him, and then you get the funnel falls, which again another myth.
I'm sorry, I couldn't show you.
It's all right. You're talking to them, it's not me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's. I do like the way they did it.
Yeah.
I just think it was. Yeah, it was all right. I remember at the time feeling a lot more disappointed with it. That it felt like, now there's something that no, it just was like neither here nor there. It was like, oh, is that it type thing. But I get they couldn't do what Cameron did. Of course they can't, but it just felt very. I don't know. I get it, but it's all right. I'm not.
Yeah. So we just whilst Sean was talking, we saw the Titanic like the final plunge and hitting the ocean floor, going beneath the waves. Of course, I won't. I will quickly say because my laptop is almost out of juice, but I will show you. Tell you that Mr. In the series of the characters we know. From the second class, the captain of the second class, who was that again, Sean? Help me remember.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm talking now about the people who survived and didn't.
Yeah, sorry, I got that. Second class, was that what you're asking for?
Yeah, who were again the passengers of second class.
Sorry, I still didn't get it. Sorry, mate, I don't understand what you're asking. Sorry.
The names of the people in second class, which we talked about. Badly.
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
I
of
thought
course,
you
yeah.
were the researcher.
Yeah, she's all right. You did second class. There's a lot of people in there, you know. Okay, so we've got Batley played by Toby Jones and
Yeah.
Mrs. Batley.
Yeah.
God, her name's gone. She's
Yeah.
brilliant as well.
Sadly,
They've
sadly, she dies, Mrs. Badley.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, come on, you need to let her go." Is that it's my
Yeah.
wife, you see? And they're like, "She'd understand. Let
Yeah.
her go." They find Manton, who's still alive.
Here, sadly, Paolo is dead.
They find Paolo's dead. I was going to marry him. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
But Mr. Hampton or Mr. Hampton, Mr. Lord Manson survives.
Because Dorothy Gibson has
whiskey.
brandy on a whiskey. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So is it brandy or whiskey?
So
Either way, whatever.
So basically, that marks the end of our of our first.
Oh no, sorry, no, I've forgotten. Sorry, mate, I've forgotten the line. She's like Cosmo Duff Gordon, and he said, "Well, Francatelli, there goes that lovely night dress you always liked." I was like, "Oh God, I know what they were. I know they were going for. They were going for like what happens in I can't remember if it's Titanic, 1953, or Night to Remember. I think it's A Night to Remember. Oh God, I must watch them again. It's the bit where the ship's gone down, they're in a lifeboat, and this woman goes, "Look at that man over there. He's smoking a cigarette." And it's disgraceful anyone should smoke a cigarette at a time like this. I think that's what they were going for, but it just comes across a little bit like, oh, okay. But apparently it was something like that was said. So I mean, but in the shock, what are you going to say anyway?
So that marks our first series conclusion. Sean, what final thoughts? What are your final thoughts before we end this live stream?
So favorite characters: Toby Jones, Maria Doyle Kennedy. That was her name, as Mr. and Mrs. Batley. Harry Widener and Georgiana, I'd have loved to have seen more of them. The bit where he's like, let me do one more thing to be proud of, puts her on the boat.
Yeah.
Miss Watson and Mr. Barnes, Lee Corns, and I can't remember it, I haven't written her name down. They were fantastic. Having watched the behind the scenes of the making of DVD, they really had a vision for this, and many brilliant people came together to build it. All the actors, actresses were brilliant. There's a lot of skilled people behind it, but for whatever reason, it doesn't land with me. But that doesn't mean people shouldn't check it out, especially if you like the Titanic. Just go in there with just see what you think, because it's just my opinion. Was filmed in Budapest in Hungary, and they were as accurate as they could be with the means at their disposal. But I do think it's worth a look, but it just didn't quite work for me.
I think with my thoughts on this is I enjoyed more things than Sean did, but that's okay because of course we can like and dislike many things. We both like The Finest Hours with the Pendleton.
That's true.
But when you watch, you muted yourself, Sean.
Yeah, that was on purpose. I'm taking a drink.
When you watch this series, guys, take it with a grain of salt because there are some inaccuracies, but it doesn't take away that even though those inaccuracies, this makes all in all a series you must watch.
Really?
In my
really?
It's my series is debating me. No, but I think people need to watch it, Sean, and think what they think.
I agree, but it's not a must-watch.
Nah, it's not a must-watch, but it's hard because, in my opinion, if you like the Titanic, you will see this series. You will see this series.
Resistance is futile.
Yeah, no. Of course, there are some great documentary series, some bad, some horrible, but this isn't terrible. It is not as bad as Titanic 666 or stuff like that. This is a series, again, you need to take in with a grain of salt. I mostly enjoyed it. Again, there were things that I didn't agree with Sean as well. I mean, not with Sean personally, but he didn't like some scenes that I also didn't like. That's what I'm trying to say. This outro is taking way too long. But guys, please watch this series and let me know what you thought. I will leave a link or some final goodbyes, Sean. How can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Review It Yourself podcast. Pretty
Mhm.
much anywhere you can find your podcasts.
Mhm.
We're on Twitter, if it remains to be called Twitter.
Mm.
It's at Yourself Review. We're on Instagram, Review It Yourself Podcast 2021. And yeah, that's where you can find me for all different kinds of film reviews, that kind of thing. And to be fair, you'll find a lot of Titanic stuff there as well, including a 4-part special on this very series. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm actually worse in that. I haven't listened back for a while, but I think I'm worse in that because it's just me talking on my own. So I think I just went off on one. But no, it's go check that out. But yeah, thank you to everybody for watching. It's been fun.
And thank you all so very much for watching this live stream, guys. I will persuade Sean behind the scenes after the stream to do more with these with me, because Sean, again, this makes it so much more fun with actually a co-host by my side. Thank you, chat, for all sticking along so long. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for all your thoughts. I will leave a link to the podcast of Sean and his socials, of course. And in the near future, I'm going on holiday in a week. So I don't know when the next stream will be. But when there will be one, we'll talk about a ocean liner related documentary or film, and I will promote it I will promote it, of course, as well. Guys, if you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, as it helps this channel out a lot. If you have friends who like ocean liners or ships, please show them my channel as well. Thank you all so very much. And if you have any comments or thoughts, or what is your personal review on the series, please leave me know in the comments down below, because I love reading the comments of you guys. Again, Sean, thank you so much for joining me. Guys, all, thank you so very much for watching, and we will see each other on the next live stream and next video. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.
Cheers.